came here last fall, whenever someone said the United States, I had this image of Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator 2 ensconced in my mind. On his Harley Davidson Fat Boy motorcycle, the shotgun by his side and speeding down the interstate. Maybe because it was Hollywood was my primary source of information about the United States. And after I got here, I realized that it wasn't very credible. There was only one New York state, and all the other 49 states were as different as chalk and cheese. To add to my insufficient knowledge of this wonderful country, I underwent what people would call a culture shock. Culture shock, according to Wikipedia, is the difficulty people undergo when adapting to a culture that is markedly different from their own. I constantly I still am trying to learn about the American culture through my social interactions with people at work, at school, and outside of both. At work. Until recently, I used to work in the Hyper, the sports and recreational facility on campus. One of my duties at the front desk was to greet patrons, check their identification cards before admitting them into the facility. On my first day of work, the doors opened, a patron walked in. I was chirpy and I said, "Good morning, sir, how do you do?" And this gentleman answers, "What's up, man?" Not quite the answer I expected. Nothing much, but how do you do? It was some time until I realized it was alright to get an answer, a question for your question when you greet someone. It took me some more time to realize that a pat on the back or wrapping your arm around the shoulder of a male co-worker was a strict no-no. One of the things which also confused me was about cleanliness. All the hand sanitizers around the Hyper, around the campus in general, led me to believe that people were very concerned about cleanliness. However, I frequently ran into students who would use the washroom but hardly clean their hands. It didn't make sense. One other thing which really stumped me, I still am stumped about, is it would be 5:30 or 6 in the evening, the sun would be glaring down at you pretty hard, and people walking by me would say, "Good night." Good night? Are you kidding me? I can still see the sunlight. Why good night? I still can't come to terms with people saying good night when it's 5:30 or 6 when I usually turn at 10 or 11, and I don't say good night until then. I came here early last August, and school hadn't started yet. So the roads were pretty deserted, and I hardly met a soul. And even if I did, I was very appreciative because I would meet a complete stranger on the road, and they would greet me and say, "How do you do? How are you doing? Do you like it here? How long have you been here?" Coming from my country, it was pretty strange for people to smile, leave alone greet each other, and I liked it a lot here. And I've been told that it's not the case in other parts of the country. It might be true, it might not be true, but I like it here. Some other things which I found interesting, which I found really strange, were the crowds, the absence of them rather. I'm from India, which is like the second most populous country in the world, and I've been used to crowds 12 months a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So I still am not getting to terms with that, and honking. I miss the honking of the car. People don't honk enough here. They only do when they're in a car race sometimes. That is another thing I have to get used to, I guess, in the recent future. And I learned an altogether different meaning of, a definition rather, of handicapped. People consider themselves handicapped if they don't have a car, or a laptop, or a cell phone. I mean, I couldn't imagine Jerry without a red Mustang, or Angela without a cell phone or a flip, or Addy or H without his laptop. I mean, it didn't make sense. I mean, after I've come here, I've started checking my mails every other hour, and coming from a guy who used to check his emails once a week and his Facebook once in 3 means that's 3 months. Sorry, that's quite something. But the most important thing I've learned from American culture is their utmost respect for time. They respect time a lot. They tend to be punctual, and everything goes according to a schedule. That is something I appreciate very much, and I am taking some of your precious time here. I'd like to thank you for your time and this opportunity. Hasta la vista, baby.